Well, good afternoon everybody, welcome back to my channel. My name's Lee, your virtual airline pilot. I'm back with you again for another scenery review. This time we're in Flight Simulator 2020. We're in Africa. This is Roberts International Airport in Monrovia in Liberia in Central Africa. Golf Lima Romeo Bravo. This is a payware scenery from AFRICA4FS. This is a developer I have looked at before. And we're currently looking at version 1.3 for the PC version of Flight Simulator 2020. Note that this scenery is also compatible with Flight Sim 2024. The download comes in at 577 meg and it installs at 853 meg, so it's not huge as far as Flight Sim standards goes, but it's fairly extensive. It's available from Sim Market. The price is €13.19, which equates to roughly $15.33 US or £11.48 UK. US and UK prices are estimates taken from the euro on the day that I converted them. Just be aware that obviously currency can fluctuate. Those prices include tax or VAT at 20%, which of course can vary depending on your country of purchase. This is a nice little scenery, nothing really to write home about, but if you're interested in flying in Africa, which I like to do because there's a plethora of sceneries out for Africa now that makes this sort of thing really interesting. And this isn't a bad scenery at all, at a very competitive price, and yeah, I think it's good. But let's get to the features. Okay, features, and as you can see I've left live weather on today. It's about 4:30 in the afternoon. Just to sort of give you a flavour of what this looks like at arguably one of the best times of the day. So features, we have a detailed rendition of the airport, full PBR texturing on all surfaces and buildings, realistic ground clutter, and dynamic night lighting as well. GSX does work at this airport. There is a jetway and we'll be doing a jetway test later, but as you can see now I've parked my aircraft on an open stand, and we'll show you some images very quickly of what it looks like with GSX. There's no specific profile available at the moment, but GSX does work. So let's just quickly show you some images. So there you are, a few images of the aircraft on an open stand with the ground services connected. Right, so that was features and a look at the aircraft. Now let's talk some history. Roberts International Airport, Golf Lima Romeo Bravo, also known as Roberts Field, is a public use international airport in Monrovia in the state of Liberia in Central Africa. Located near the town of Harbel, in Margibi County, the single runway airport is about 35 miles or 56 kilometers outside of the nation's capital of Monrovia, and as an origin and destination point is referred to as just Monrovia. Locally, it's often referred to as simply RIA. The airport is named in honor of Joseph Jenkins Roberts, the first president of Liberia. The airport was the nation's busiest and most important aviation facility, currently hosting the country's only scheduled commercial airline services, with direct connections to several major cities in West Africa, as well as flights to Europe on Brussels Airlines. The airport recently underwent a major expansion, including opening of the new terminal. The facility, with its 11,000 foot or 3,353 metre long runway, was an emergency landing site for the United States Space Shuttle program and is one of only two with paved runways in the whole country. While Monrovia's secondary airport, Spriggs Payne, is much closer to the city centre and possesses the nation's only other paved runway, it has not had a scheduled commercial service since ASCII Airlines suspended the service in November 2014. In 1942, Liberia signed a defence pact with the United States. This commenced a period of strategic road building and other construction related to US military interests in checking the expansion of the Axis powers. The airport was originally built by the US government as an Air Force base as part of these activities. From 1943 to the end of World War II in 1945, Roberts Field Airport, as it was then known, served as an alternative base for a contingent of 26th Squadron South African Air Force, which flew Vickers Wellington bombers on an anti-submarine or U-boat missions and convoy escort patrols over the Atlantic. The story of Roberts Field is consistently intertwined with the history of Pan American World Airways. In fact, from the end of World War II until 1985, the airport was administered and operated by Pan Am under contract with the Republic of Liberia's Ministry of Transport. As with Pan Am, several African flag carriers utilized Roberts Field as a way station on transatlantic routes. As early as 1966, Nigeria Airways began a code-share cooperation on Pan Am's flights to New York JFK from Lagos via Monrovia. Up until 1983, Air Afrique's DC-10s also stopped at Roberts Field on that airline's Abidjan, Monrovia, Dakar, New York services. In April 1988, Zambia Airways commenced service from Lusaka to New York via Monrovia. Currently, the terminal facilities consist of two passenger buildings, one for departures by most commercial carriers and all arrivals, and a second, Terminal B, opened in March 2012, and in its first 2 years was reserved exclusively for departures by Air France and Delta Airlines. Other airside buildings are primarily used by United Nations with a VIP facility adjacent to the original unused terminal. A decline in global prices for commodities such as gold, iron ore and oil began in 2013 and 14, causing an immediate slowdown of Liberia's extractive-dependent economy, which in turn pressured the viability of many new international services from Roberts Field. The first major blow to the airport's renaissance came in late June 2014, when Air France scrapped its flight to Liberia, citing lack of profitability. In August of 2014, the last Delta jet departed Liberia, with most scheduled flights, including those of British Airways, Kenya Airways, Air Côte d'Ivoire, Arik Air and Gambia Bird, being suspended due to the rapidly spreading Ebola outbreak. Royal Air Maroc and Brussels Airlines both remain flying through the crisis, albeit with reduced schedules. The renovation project, launched in 2018, completely overhauled nearly every aspect of the airport to meet international civil aviation regulations and allow for expanded passenger and cargo operations. The new two-level main passenger facility was constructed, salvaged from the structure of the airport's original terminal, which had been destroyed during the Civil War and which sat burnt out and vacant for nearly 15 years. The ground floor features a departure hall with check-in desks and security screening, and an arrivals hall, baggage handling, baggage claim with international standard luggage carousels, as well as a waiting area to greet passengers. The upper level is a departures gallery with retail spaces and a business lounge. The new two-story terminal was officially dedicated by President Sirleaf in December 2017. The new terminal was fully operational by September 2019, including the jet bridges and the new business class lounge. Airlines currently operating into Roberts include Brussels Airlines, Ethiopian Airlines, Kenya Airways and Royal Air Maroc. So there you are, folks, some history for you. Quite a bit. This place has been through some of the problems and issues over the years, especially with the Ebola disease outbreak. But yeah, there we go. So let's have a look at the runway here. A big long single runway. Let's check it out for its authenticity and the navigational aids attached to it. Okay, runways. Right, so we turn the lighting down. I've got rid of the weather for the moment. It's about at 6:15 in the evening local time. In most of Africa, generally after sort of 6 p.m, most flying doesn't work or doesn't operate after sort of sunset. Obviously airports that have instrument approaches, they do to some extent, but generally in a lot of Africa most airports are pretty much closed by sort of 8 p.m. local time in the evening, other than of course than the major international airports. But let's look at the runway situation here at Roberts. So Roberts International Airport operates a single runway 0422 measuring 11,000 feet or 3,353 meters and is constructed from asphalt. The airport lies at an elevation of 31 feet or 9.4 meters and sits within the GMT UTC time zone, pretty much the same as the UK. However, Liberia does not observe daylight saving time or DST, and with the UK currently still on summertime, at least until tomorrow, the airport is 1 hour behind the UK. The date of this video is the 25th of October, Saturday, and tomorrow, Sunday, the UK goes back to Zulu GMT, so then they'll be on the same time. So we're looking down the throat of runway 04, which features high-intensity runway lighting. In the real world, they also have pilot-activated lighting system for Cat 1 approaches with high-intensity lighting there, and precision approach path indicators on the left side. So this is all pretty much correct. The PAPIs are correct, you've got high intensity lighting, there's no center line which is not marked on the charts, and the approach lighting system again is as per the chart that I'm looking at now. Approach options, you have a standard instrument landing system with the Z option, and there's also an RNP approach option as well. Okay, so let's go and have a look at the other end, runway 22. So here we are at the other end looking down the throat of runway 22, and here you'll see there's a rather large extended displaced threshold. So runway 22 has only high intensity runway lighting, that's all. However, we're showing PAPIs here on the left. Now no PAPIs marked on the charts for runway 22, but as I've said many times before, whatever a scenery developer decides to leave in or put in that might aid you, I'm perfectly happy with. So everything's okay for 22 apart from the addition of the PAPIs which are not on the charts. Approach options for runway 22, you only have the RNP approach option, there's no ILS at this end. Okay, that does it for runways. Now let's have a look at the jetways here. There's only 2 of them, and let's see if we can get any of them to work. Okay, so jetways. So here we are on stand 2. It's late in the afternoon, early evening at Roberts International in Liberia. We've got the Phoenix Airbus A320. As you can see, it's on the center line, but it's not quite up to the mark here. I have spawned from the menu, as I usually do. So let's just test the jetway. So the wheels are moving in the right direction, the jetway's expanding. It looks like it's going to reach. Door opens. And that looks as good as any jetway I've ever seen, to be honest. Okay, let's have a close-up look. So that looks pretty good. It might well have gone into the skin there, but it looks pretty good. At the bottom there it looks like it's up close. Let's look from the other side. And that looks pretty snug. The connection at the bottom is good. The hood hasn't gone through into the cockpit this side. Looks pretty impressive. Let's have a look inside. Okay, so here we are inside, and you can see the connection is pretty good actually. The door's not infringed. You can see the hood on the other side, which often is missing sometimes. The doors are closed here on the left, unfortunately, but you know, that again, that happens in 90% of the sceneries. But this is a pretty good connection looking from this side. Here we are looking from the other side, and that looks fine as well. It doesn't even look as though this thing's gone through the skin at all. That's a really good snug connection, probably one of the best I've seen, which to be honest is quite unexpected in a scenery like this. Let's have a look out from the inside. So there we are looking out from the inside there, and as you can see the external doors are closed. Okay, quick look inside the cabin. You can see the skin or the hood has actually penetrated the skin slightly, but other than that the connection is pretty impressive. And here in the flight deck, of course, is fine. We can't see any problem there at all. In fact, there is the hood right up to the side of the cockpit. So there's an outside view of the jetway. You know, it looks pretty good. I mean, this isn't an expensive or massive scenery, you know, by any stretch of the imagination. It's fairly simple, but it's quite amazing to see it's got one of the best jetway connections I've ever seen. And as you can see here, we're still not on the mark, but it's connected fine. The wheels have gone the right way. It's really good. So let's disconnect it now. Doors close. And that looks pretty impressive to me. Very nice. Goes all the way back and clicks to a stop. So there you are. That was a jetway test here on stand 2 at Roberts International. Everything looks pretty good. So let's have a close look at this scenery now and see whether it's worth the price you pay for it, and just see how extensive it is. Okay, welcome back. So I've left the time at around about 16:20. It's quite a nice part-timer day, and we're starting here at the northeast end. You've got runway 22 threshold in front of us there, and we'll work our way southwest down on the western side first, because there's a military area. So as you can see, I mean, I think this place looks great. You've got this lovely sort of river winding there, and a lush, really lush vegetation, which looks very, very nice indeed. So you've got the road there that goes around the airport. There's street lighting as well. There's the fence line, and as you can see, we've also got various buildings and bits and pieces. These are obviously default, certainly, but they, you know, they make it look a little bit more realistic, as it were. There's the fence line that goes right the way around the airport. Now, if I'm not mistaken, this is the sort of military bit where they've got, in the real world certainly, they've got bits and pieces parked here of a military nature. And it looks fine. Nothing there that's been added as such. But as you can see, you've got this fence line that goes all the way down. So we'll start here and coming back the other way. We're now heading northeast. You've got runway 04 that to the left of us. And here again, you can see the fence line there to the left. Some lovely foliage and various buildings dotted about here and there. And it looks nice. Okay, it's not Pyrig Dev Company, but it looks fine. Here's a control tower. Slow down a little bit. Don't think there's anything inside, but we'll have a look anyway. I mean, from the outside it looks great. And here from the outside looking in, you can see there is some development. And there we are. We've got a basic control tower that's been partially developed. Again, it would have been nice to see a controller in here. You know, it won't affect the frame rate. There are some free human models about that could be used, which would be good. So we continue the tour of the sort of airside area. We're now heading northeast. Got that beautiful river to the right hand side, and you know, the foliage really is typically African for this part of the world. It really makes it look good, in my opinion. So we cross the airside area first. There's my aircraft parked on the open stand, and here's the main terminal. And here you've got various other facilities here, and nice to see you've got some people down there too. I mean, I don't have a full map of this airport, so I can't say that's probably the VIP facility. I can't really say whether it is or not. In fact, that could well be it. And nice to see this little sign here as well. As ever, mostly the language spoken in Liberia is French, which is why you have sort of bon voyage there, even though this used to be an American airbase. And there's the rear of the sign. So normally it would appear, but pilots or the flights normally land on 04, come to the end and taxi off, and you get past this sign. And this is what your passengers will see. So there's runway 22 threshold. Here's the ILS antenna at the very end. Alright, so a quick look at some signage, and we've spotted our first error. As you can see, the sign denoting the runway entrance in red is actually wrong. This is 22, and so that should read 22, not 04. So that's the main problem we spotted so far. So let's have a look at some of these buildings first. This, I believe, is the VIP suite. Nicely done. Fairly basic models, as I say. AFRICA4FS are a good developer, but they're not sort of blisteringly brilliant, as it were. But what they've done is quite nice. I mean, they've taken an airport like this and really enhanced it. Moving further on, flags are static. That looks like a catering building, and we've got a truck that's stuck inside it, so that's another little anomaly they need to sort out. But you know, it all looks pretty good. There are no real complaints at all. It's been nicely done. And there you can see the airport name. You've got the jetways have been nicely textured, complete with advertising, and you've got some ground engineers down there too. Okay, quick look from inside the flight deck. This is what you see when you park up on stand 3, which is the one that's off the terminal. There's the view from the captain's side, and looking out through the first officer's window. So while we're here, a couple of quick shots around the aircraft on the stand, which is what you guys are interested in. Here you've got this, you see this a lot at many airports when you've got aircraft that park off stand. Not all of them, but you see this from time to time, and I do believe it's used in Africa quite a lot, where you've got this wire thing here that basically prevents access to the engine in case it starts running, so passengers going on board won't go anywhere near the engine. It's a little safety feature. And there we are on stand. As you can see, we're almost on the centre line. We're not quite parked up at the end here, but this would be perfectly okay if you're arriving and taxi in. And just a quick view looking back across the stands there, really nice. So a little close up of the terminal from airside. As you can see, it looks great. It's perfectly acceptable, and the jetways look fine. And as I said, it's a nice touch to have some of these staff here standing around airside chatting around. It sort of brings it to life a little bit. So as far as I know, there's no internal development. Let's have a quick look. And there we go. You can see there's nothing inside. So you've got this other building here, which I believe is a hangar of some sort, and you've got additional parking there as well. So let's just have a look landside of the terminal. As you can see, you've got various roads and pathways. Once again, not much in the way of development. It's all fairly simplified. And we'll continue landside up past these buildings. Some development, not very much at all. But all in all, it looks pretty nice. It's simplified, but it looks pretty nice. So I just wanted to have a quick look at the threshold here of a 04. As you can see, there's no signs or anything on it, so there's nothing sort of been misplaced there. They've not put a 22 sign here, but I just wanted to check to see what they've got at the end of this runway, since we spotted the anomaly at the other end. There's the windsock, and as you can see, we've also got blue airfield edge lights during the time when it gets into darkness hours. Just a couple of taxiway signs there. There's the Bravo sign. And there's the runway sign, which is actually correct. You've got the length there is pretty much correct, and they've got the 0422 in the right part of the sign. So the only anomaly we can find is up at the other end on the 22 threshold, on the displaced threshold. They've got runway 04 marked, so that needs to be fixed. Okay, so that was the airport during the late afternoon or daytime. Let's take it down to dusk now. Now, dusk doesn't last very long in this part of the world, so let's have a look and see what we can see in the lighting. Okay, 20 past 6 in the evening local time. As I said, it's October 2025, late October, and the lights just came on a minute ago. And here's an overview of the main ramp area, which looks quite pleasant. Lighting hasn't been overdone, buildings look quite good, and you've got this beautiful sunset over the back of the mountains there, which is sort of east of the airport. There we are looking northeast. You've got the river going past, which looks lovely. Runway looks good. And there's what I suspect was the military area, and even that's lit as well, so your military pilots are taken care of. That looks really quite good too. And then looking down the runway towards the 04 approach end, you've got some odd lighting here and there. So just wanted to see whether we've got any lighting in the tower. And indeed we have. I mean, it looks really good. It's very nice. And as you can see, there's some lighting on the buildings. Just, you know, it just makes all the difference to have these lights in the various places. Brings the airport to life a bit. And just another look at some of the buildings landside of the airport fence. We've got some Asobo glows floating around now here and there, but as you can see, we've got some lighting done on these buildings, which just, you know, really helps. Okay, once again, just a look from inside the flight deck at dusk. As you can see, the light is actually rapidly disappearing. Here's the view from the flight deck when you park up on stand 3. View from the captain's side. And looking out the first officer's window. So once again, a couple of close-up shots by the stand. As you can see, the terminal has been subtly lit with very basic sort of lighting to bring it up a little bit. But there we are looking across the ramp, and you've really got no problems with the lighting. It looks pretty good. You will need your nose gear light to actually reach this point. So you're looking out across the ramp. We've got blue airfield edge lights, but we've got no green centerline lights, so your nose gear will help you follow the yellow line into the parking area. So a little airside tour. Well, it looks nice. Really no real complaints at all. It looks lovely. It's all pretty basic, you know, but it's nothing really to complain about. It looks fine. It's another nice little enhanced airport in Africa for you to use. And we have some lighting there on the VIP area too. So let's move landside, going across the top of the VIP building, over the fence towards the landside road here. And again, you've got some odd basic lighting here which sort of makes things look a little bit better than they might. Low resolution 3D ground. And here we are, landside of the terminal. As I said, no cars or people or anything like that. Who knows, maybe the developer might add that in the future, we'll see. But it all looks fine. So that was the airport at dusk. As you can see, we're rapidly diminishing into night. It doesn't last very long at all here. So let's bring it down to night time. I don't know if it's me, but I can hear birds tweeting or something tweeting along there. Anyway, it's now 8 PM local time. As you can see, the night is very black here, which again is typical in Africa. And this is about the point that most sort of small airports tend to close up. The major international ones, obviously with the full IFR facilities, can work 24 hours. But as you can see, many airports, because it's so dark, everything sort of closes up about this time. But again, the lighting's good. The building hasn't been overdone. The lighting's about the same intensity, which is good. Sometimes they really enhance it during the night hours and it looks very brash. There's a runway 22 threshold, and you can see the blue airfield edge lights, which denote the boundary of the airport, so you'll be able to taxi on and off. There's the military area, just west of the main airfield, and looking down to the 04 threshold there. Just a quick close-up of some of the signage. This is the Bravo taxiway, takes you into the main apron. And yeah, that's well lit, nothing much more to say about that. Once again, we're back in the flight deck. Oh, and this is what you will see. As you can see, it's pretty dark outside. It's very, very black. And this is typical of places in Africa and in Asia as well. The night time gets really dark. There's the captain's view. And there's the first officer's window. So a quick close-up look on the main stand where we're parked here. I mean, these big overhead stand lights are just about the right intensity. And yeah, I mean, look at the concrete. Concrete texture looks brilliant, to be honest. Looks really good. And they're looking towards the terminal, and it's nice to see the odd engineer walking about there too. A little close-up of the terminal airside, and we've got our friends all having a chinwag outside the terminal. So there's a higher level overview from landside looking airside, and yeah, it's great. You've got the tungsten yellow street lamps on the landside roads as well, which is good. Okay, so hopefully I'm in the right position. Let's bring the airport up to dawn. Okay, 6:35 in the morning local time. The sun's come up behind us, and here's the view on the buildings as the sun shines. Very nice indeed. There we are, looking north and looking towards the southwest. And there's the sun coming up in the east, and you've got the terminal foreground in front of us there. Very, very nice. Okay, 7:15 in the morning, and time to wrap up this review and give you my thoughts. What do I think? Okay, I've collected and reviewed a number of airports in Africa, both high level and low level. And yeah, certainly this ranks amongst one of those airports you'd like to have. The only anomaly we can spot really is the fact they've got the runway 04 marker right in front of the 22 threshold. That needs to be fixed. Be nice to see a lot of different little bits and pieces added to this scenery to make it a bit more than it currently is. But you know what, you've got another airport with a huge runway here in Africa, set in a nice location. The river and the foliage and the terrain around the airport is beautiful. It really is very, very pleasant. One of two airports in this country. This is the major one, so it's really the only real option you've got if you want to land in Liberia. But a scenery that's well worth it. What about the price? Okay, just over €13, just over $15, and coming up close to £12. It's about right with the work that's been done. I mean, I would love to see the terminal worked on a lot more, and I'd love to see the control tower worked on a bit more. I mean, that's obviously up to the developer to see what they want to do. But at the moment, as I said, the only anomaly is the 04 sign at the 22 threshold that needs to be changed. But a very nice little airport, quite nice price, very competitive, and who knows, that could come down when SimMarket have another sale, who knows. But certainly worth the money, and just a nice little airport to look at. And yet another African airport to add to the collection, to the many that are out there. So there you go, folks, that was a review. It's Roberts International Airport in Monrovia, Liberia, in Central Africa. Golf Lima Romeo Bravo. Payware scenery by AFRICA4FS. This is version 1.3 for the PC version of Flight Simulator 2020, and it also works in 2024. The download comes in at 577 meg and installs at 853 meg, available from SimMarket. Priced at €13.19, which equates to roughly $15.33 US, or £11.48 UK. As ever, the US and UK prices are estimates taken from the euro, and they include tax and VAT at 20%, which of course could be different depending on what country you're in when you make your purchase. Lots of little features, quality buildings, nice tarmac and concrete. Yeah, you know, and it's all pretty much as it should be as well. So there you go, folks. Thank you very much for watching. Thank you for joining me. I'm quite pleased I managed to get these last two videos out this week. I'm still under sort of medical investigation at the moment for a few things that I need to sort out. Hopefully that's not going to be too serious. Have a look at my website. It's been updated and enhanced professionally. Looks a lot better. I've got various pages there for you to look at. The upcoming pages will show you each week's videos as I did before, so you get an idea of what's coming next. So once again, thanks for watching. Thank you for your kind support and for the lovely messages. It's really appreciated. And yeah, I will see you in the next video. Have great flights, stay safe, and keep the sky up, as they say. Take care, guys. Bye bye for now.